It is 7:10 in the morning, and welcome back. It is the SHOPO Hour. And welcoming back into studio, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, all ages, all sizes, all genders. He is SHOPO President Bobby Cavaco. Brother Bobby, good morning, and good to see you.
Good morning, Rick. Glad to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, it has been 10 minutes since we've had you in studio. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Well, fill us in. Give us a little brief synopsis, if you wouldn't mind. How's Brother Bobby been?
Been doing good. Been working. Been working on a lot of things with the union, trying to negotiate a new contract. We're deep into that process right now, moving forward. We're working on a subsidized vehicle program on Maui for our police officers. And we have a situation on Kauai with the police commission and their police chief. That's a pretty hot topic with that department. But just a multitude of things going along with, the media attention and situation in Waianae.
How's your putting?
I can't say too much about that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't really use that kind of language on the radio. That's
pop another beer is what they say, right?
There, that's my putting stroke. There we go. So good to see you, though.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Vice President Steve Keogh. Good morning, sir.
Fearless leader Rick Amata.
My goodness.
Always happy and grateful to be here, Rick, with you and your listeners.
Good to see you. How's your little baby doing?
Titus is doing well. He's a handful. I blame Mark for all of it, but he's doing really good. I couldn't bring him today. The elevators in my building were not working since last night, so going up and down multiple floors just wasn't going to work.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
I know.
Is your place going to be okay?
You're looking fabulous, wearing the Bear Down Bears jersey today, celebrating the win.
Not that often I can wear it proudly.
Well said.
But it was good stuff yesterday. Good stuff. Finally. Brother Mark, welcome back. How many frequent flyer miles do you have now?
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday.
It is Monday.
Good to be here. The band is back together.
Wow, absolutely so. And our lead singer is Brother Nick. And good to see you, brother.
Morning. I'm more like Robert's roadie, but thank you very much.
Robert's roadie. Wait a minute. That's what it says on your business card.
Yes, it does. Yes.
That's amazing. We're brothers and good friends, but we do talk about substantive issues that pertain to our community. If you do surveys, etc., at the top of the list, public safety always emerges as a public concern. I'd like to take us back a couple of years ago, and this is back in February of 2022. And a press conference was held. Brother Bobby, you were heading up the press conference. I saw Brother Nick and Brother Steve and more, but this was substantial. Quoting, dangerous understaffing is an open secret. You went on to demonstrate and articulate that the coverage and in districts and areas very vividly of where we have problems and issues with staffing to provide safety. Between 2016 and 2024, there was an increase in vacancies in HPD of 250%. Whew. We have been talking about staffing, recruitment on a regular basis here and also with the chief. So my question, 2 years plus later, where are we now? And what transpired after your very articulate press conference citing and quantifying our needs? Brother Bobby?
Well, I think currently, since then, we're definitely in a better position in regards to the issue at hand. I believe that by bringing it to light and by making it the focal point towards the leadership of the department, it's definitely on top of their minds to make sure that the officers are adequately staffed on a daily basis. But that doesn't take away from our vacancy rate and where we're at right now. But we are happy to see that the police department does have recruiting on the top of their list, and the big push is to fill those positions. So as far as the staffing daily on the patrol level, we do remain at a certain percentage, and we never go below that percentage. So we're glad that our leadership has taken that position, and it's been on the forefront. So that's always the concern. So I think since then we've definitely made a lot of strides towards it. Yes.
I remember in that press conference, and Brother Nick, Brother Steve, the announcement was attending a city council budget hearing to appear, I think unprecedented, to appear and really find out the commitment from the city and county of financial budgeting to ensure that we have enough resources to increase. Has there been any positive developments? Has there been... let me just start with, what was the reply and response then, and where are we today?
Yeah, I think there was actually good response. It was very eye-opening.
Okay.
I really want to stress that, when Robert and SHOPO did this was a huge step. I can't underscore that enough. We all knew culturally within the departments of all 4 counties just how bad the staffing was. And as the headline said, it was in fact an open secret within all 4 departments that the staffing was this bad. And it's no secret that since that press conference in 2022, the lack of staffing, the vacancies have actually gotten larger, right? We appreciate the fact that the departments are trying to play catch up, but I sometimes, from a union point of view, doubt whether or not there would even be an emphasis on this if we didn't highlight it. It had to be exposed at great risk. And I'm just going to say that as well. There was cultural backlash within the department. It goes without saying that union officials did get some type of reprisal from their departments for doing this, unquestionably. But we had to do it because it was time. And if you don't believe it, look what's going on in District A. We could go back to how that district was deliberately understaffed by a particular major whose initials are RA many years ago, for the sake of saving quote unquote overtime in a time culturally in the department when that's what administrators did to get promoted. They saved overtime.
Wow.
But yes, I think the city council is extremely open and receptive. I think the mayor has been extremely supportive. I think the city councils and the mayors on the outside counties have been the same way. But it's something that we're not going to give up. And I guarantee you the administrators of the departments who are listening right now are probably going, oh, geez, not again. Because behind closed doors, we have been asked, can you stop? It's making us hard for us. And the answer is no. And if we don't stop, we're hoping for success. It's going to take a while. But at the same time, I think if we do relinquish the pressure, you may not see the emphasis there as much from the departments. I think this has to be a constant thing for us to do.
I think former Temporary Chief Vanek had intimated that what you were sharing at the time were scare tactics, that you're just using this to foment some type of unease. And that was a public statement issued by then Chief Vanek. Has the relationships, or is there more of a parallel in meeting objectives, or do we still have some issues that have to be sorted out between both sides? Steve?
So going back 2 years ago, the union stepped in, identified a problem and a concern. Why does the community need to know about that? Well, we need more cops on the street to keep people safe. The numbers were too low. Bobby went on, sounded the alarm. The union got things rolling. 2 years later, where are we at? Well, we still have some challenges. As far as the question you just asked about interim Chief Vanek, currently Deputy Chief Vanek, we just had a sit down with him last week. The communication, I think, is improved. Obviously, we are willing to sit down with all administrators in every county to work with them. So I think, Rick, we are in a better place than where we were.
Okay.
To Nick's point, very eloquently, is there more that needs to be done? Yes. Is the union going to look for areas of opportunity and make administrators aware if there's deficiencies, and can we correct them? Yes. Because remember, as union officials, we're cops. We have to be the police on a daily basis, and then switch hats and be the union guys. So we feel the stresses our members feel because we do both, Rick. Right?
Yeah.
So do we think it's better than what it was? Yes. Are things in motion with recruitment? Yes. We have brought to the attention retention. Right. So we're trying to look at this from a multiple of different areas. It's going to take a minute. But we feel it's better than where it was. Is it where it needs to be? Absolutely not.
Right.
Is that anybody's fault? I don't want to finger point, but as long as we don't do business as usual, we talked about it last week. We just can't walk around and say, well, let's just keep doing it like we did, because that's not going to work.
Brother Mark, what's your overall perception of this?
From a couple of years ago, vacancy is definitely a lot worse, right? Classes are not keeping up with the vacancies yearly, right? So we're having...
Are retirements outpacing recruitment?
Yeah. The classes were too small, and I guess there was someone who brought up a theory with small classes, and you're going to retain more. You have the same rate of people leaving. So, get a bunch of people in there. Forget about your 8, 10, 20 people in your classes. Start bringing 50, 60 people in your classes, all right? So the vacancies are worse. Classes are not filling the vacancies leaving, right? About a year or so ago, we were talking about how benefits were taken away, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything about that anymore, right? So where's the mayor, and where's the chief, and where's the police commission on getting these benefits back to these officers? High 3, 25-year retirement, benefits for your spouse when you retire. Right now, they don't get that. Older guys are getting that. So get these benefits back, and that's it'll help with a recruiting tool, right? I feel they could do a better job recruiting. I don't see anything on the radio. I don't see anything on the TV. You get out there. I mean, when I first came in, they were blasting stuff all over the radio. They were blasting stuff on TV. You don't see anything like that. So they need to do a better job recruiting. And then their retention of older officers, I feel, is just a Band-Aid. You're not fixing the long-term effect. Yeah, maybe it's going to help you for the next few years, but you need a long-term plan to get officers to come in and stay, right? So
prep them at the outset.
Well, it's all with recruiting,
right.
So right now you got a guy that's ready to retire 25 years. You want to retain him, all right? What's he going to stay? Another maybe 3, 4, 5 years, maybe, right? But that doesn't help you a long-term plan. You need to look 20, 30 years from now, right? Stop being closed-minded. You got to look out of the box. You got to look to the future. So, and then another thing, the captains and above in the department needs to start managing this department, not have the department manage them. So if you're short over 400, what are we at? 415, 420, something like that? 428 positions we're short. Well, you're going to have to start pulling people from these certain specialized divisions, or get these officers out of the offices and start managing the department properly. Right, you got to put them on the road. If
I could ask, is that a possibility that you can direct individuals out of what their specific JD is, job description?
Yeah, you can. Okay. They're in a certain district. You could put them on the road instead of in an office. Mm-hmm. They're police officers, right? Yeah. So you got to start managing.
So I hope that didn't come across as an idiotic question.
No, I know what you mean.
Because we are talking about roles, responsibilities, and a union issue.
Exactly.
So that can be, that's not preventing, in other words, true management of
and that's
resource.
What I'm saying. That's where that's where managing comes in. If they do have a conflict, go to the union, talk to the union. Hey, this is what we want to do. Is it feasible?
Has anybody approached SHOPO with any? Hey, we'd like to do this. We're thinking of that. What are your thoughts? can we move forward, or just being creative at all?
I think there's been a little bit of creativity. I can't really remember anything as far as a reallocation of personnel in a substantial nature goes. And just to make it clear, as in every organization, Honolulu Police and the other counties, there are need to have positions and there are nice to have positions, as the phrases go. There are nice to have positions in the Honolulu Police Department. There are, a decent amount of them. Not knocking the job. It's just that there are times when, there's a mission and nice to have doesn't necessarily fit it, so you need to reallocate. There have been some ideas here or there. Right now we're talking about one concerning communications division and the shortage of call takers there. Communications division, to its credit, is trying to modify in some ways. It does take talk and negotiation. So have there been some ideas? Yes. But at the same time, it's a constant work in progress daily.
So I remember in positions I had in other jobs, and even this one at some point, you may be in management, but if you have a team member that's out, then what you do is you do their job. So I might be a talk show host, I might be a VP of this, that, and the other, but if I need to cover breaking news stories, then I jump in. Does that happen with captains and above? Do they jump into the roles and responsibilities if they're falling short with their team members? Brother Steve?
So I'm processing what you're asking, and a captain and a major have a lot of responsibility. The captain is really the XO. He's the number two, or she's the number two. I would say the captain would step in and be a watch commander if necessary. I'm trying to go with the chain of command.
I see.
I would have to say this. If a captain and a major needed to directly oversee patrol responsibilities, a crime reduction unit, a burg theft detail, or a misdemeanor follow-up unit, something's gone terribly wrong. There's a lot of steps and people between where the captain and the major are at and then where everybody else is at. And as Mark was sharing, he's a humble guy. As a major, you have discretion over your people. You can move people around. It's just a question of where do you feel those assets are most important. Like I said, within a district, Rick, just for the listeners, you have a patrol division. Then you have the plainclothes crime reduction unit team, sometimes two, a day and a night. Then you have a misdemeanor follow-up detail. These officers are responsible for following up with misdemeanor cases. Then you have a burg theft detail, which handles felonies within the district, UEMVs, burglaries, certain types of theft. So there's personnel assigned to do different jobs, like you said. We're all police officers, depending on rank. Now, what does prohibit people from moving around? Certain jobs need to be done by a certain rank. So there is that. Right.
Gotcha.
An officer can't suddenly do lieutenant's work, right? Or a sergeant's work. So when you talk about numbers and management, and just for your listeners, the job responsibilities are usually indicated by the rank that the police officer holds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Final question, and then we'll move on. We're at the bottom of the hour already. And that I'm going to use like a financial comparison. At some point in time, there's bankruptcy. You just reach the limit, declare bankruptcy, because we can't go any further. We're at 428 in regard to staffing shortage. Is there a level of shortage where we would be bankrupt in regard to providing safety for this community?
I think that number would probably be maybe double what we're at now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if it reaches that point, then maybe we might enter that status.
Final. How can the public be of assistance? How can we not just consume the information, but can we be proactive in helping SHOPO, HPD, whatever the arena is, to compel even more dedication to supporting our department and officers?
Yeah, I think it actually starts with reshaping your whole idea of the purpose of law enforcement in your community. If you can be comfortable and come to terms with the fact that you actually need these people out here to help you, and that they are integral to what goes on in your neighborhoods and your communities, and that they may not always have the most glamorous job, and they may not always have the best, funnest things to do, and they may often have to do things that you yourself wouldn't do, or that you may not necessarily agree with, but still needs to be done in order for everything to keep moving, for the machine to keep working, and for society to keep going. Then you'll probably understand that, despite any shortcomings that they have, or despite any negative opinions that you have about them, that they're still a necessity. And if you need something, you can't shortchange it or discard it.
Amen. Brother Steve, final?
Rick, just the way my brain's working this morning, what can the public do to support the department and cops? First thing is, speak up against politicians that want to put laws and do things that would put this community at risk and make it harder for the men and women to do their job that wear the uniform, okay? Pay attention to who is running for office. Stand up for what's right. We need to be able to work. As we know, we've seen certain community leaders or politicians try to do things that would make it harder for us to do our job and the community less safe. So there's that. As far as backing the officers, man, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but it sure is nice when you see like a blue line sticker, or somebody comes up and says, hey, it's those little things, right? And also maybe, just maybe, depending on the age of your listeners, maybe encourage family members to look into the police profession. Maybe help us recruit. Maybe you have somebody that is an uncle, aunt, son, whoever, that's maybe getting out of the military a little early. Maybe they're not doing a full 20. Maybe they're going to do a 6 or 8 and they're ready. Help us with recruitment. Start the conversation in the house. Hey, you want to get into the police service? Who knows?
I'll tell you what, fella, thank you so very much for the first part of the program. It's a delight to have all the fellas in studio today. Brother Bobby, Brother Steve, Brother Nick, and Brother Mark are all together to spend time with you. I'm going to free up the telephone lines at 521-8383 for the second part of our program. But stay with us. This is the SHOPO Hour. Little pause there. We were actually having a little bit of our breakfast buffet. Want to thank Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for delivering ribeyes and crab legs. Wait a minute. I just woke up from the dream. I'm sorry, I did. It's great to have the brothers in studio, the SHOPO Hour. Telephone number 521-8383. We're already at 7:38 in the morning. Brother Bobby, you mentioned at the outset of the show, Kauai. Would you mind bringing us up to speed? Kauai PD has been part of our ongoing conversations, and the focus was on the chief and more. Where are we now?
Well, a couple of years ago, SHOPO had done a survey on the status of the Kauai Police Department, and the reviews and the results of that was primarily pretty negative. And it was presented to the police commission, and then you fast forward 2 years later, the department and the police commission hired Gallup to come in and do their own survey, and the results there were probably worse than what ours was, and that was 2 years lapse of between the two surveys. I believe in Gallup's survey, it was something like 95% of the officers were either not engaged in their daily work duties.
Wow.
So it was pretty bad. There's a lot of things that need to be worked on with the department and morale and decision making. You also have the complaint that was filed against the chief leaving his gun in the restroom.
Remember that?
We understand that the investigation is done, and it was on the agenda for last week Friday's meeting, along with the yearly evaluation of Chief Raybuck. However, the chief said that he was sick. He missed the meeting, and I was up there for that police commission meeting I had attended. And so the police commission actually took it off the agenda and delayed it another month to next month. So that's where we're at right now.
It's first of all, the numbers are staggering. 95%. If you lined up 10 officers, that over 9 of those officers, how can a department function effectively? And what's the causation? Does it go? You just go to the top. You go to the chief, and the area of responsibility is this is your responsibility to ensure that your team is satisfied at the very least and able to effectuate the job that they have. What could possibly be a solution to this?
The solution would be to have Chief Raybuck resign. It's at that point. We don't believe that the department is recoverable under his leadership. It's gotten to the point where there's no communication with the union at all. There's no communication with the frontline officers. In fact, several months ago, we were asked by him to communicate to the membership, asking if the officers wanted to do a 312 schedule. That's not our responsibility. The responsibility of you is to go out and either have you or your team ask the officers if they want to move to that schedule. It's just a very trying situation, and it's gotten to the point where it's not good. Chief was on vacation for the last month, so all of the communication has been with the acting deputy chief and the other assistant chiefs. It's been really good. They've gotten a lot done without him there, so the department can move forward.
If the chief believes a resignation on his part is not the path to take, would the police commission be the logical next step? Is the mayor involved in any way, or how does that work?
No, the mayor is disinterested. Yeah, he doesn't want to take a stand. He doesn't want to make a decision.
Wow,
yeah.
That's
very surprising.
Different than our mayor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goodness.
We would just hope that the commission take the steps to have him put him on the sidelines, resign, and move forward with a new chief and a new direction.
But over the past 2 years, has the commission expressed any proactive stance in making sure the chief is understanding that this had to be turned around? 2 years.
Well, I don't think that they took us seriously 2 years ago. Because if our survey said that the department is in a bad position, they hired Gallup to do their own survey and probably thought that it would come out better than what we did, or what the results of our survey. But actually, it was worse.
Yeah.
So that proves that, it proves what our survey was 2 years ago.
Goodness, Steve.
Kauai is unique among our membership chapters. Those officers have been, in a lot of times, born and raised on Kauai and choose to serve there.
Yeah.
We have, Nick, about 135 membership. So it's a tight-knit community. It's a close-knit community. And let's just say this, Rick. We're not coming here. Bobby, as the president, is not... The chief of police has had on Kauai has had numerous opportunities to try to communicate with union leadership, not only at the Kauai level with Bobby Thompson and his team, and also Bobby over here in Honolulu as the president. He doesn't meet. He made a decision. How's this, Rick? He made a decision to not meet with Bobby Thompson, who is the union leader on Kauai.
Yeah.
When you put your flag in the sand and you say, I'm not speaking to you anymore, how can you have an effective relationship? How's this? How can you run an organization where you're so immature that you say, I am refusing to talk with the head union official? Is that a smart decision? If you have union workers and you're the police chief, and you say, you know what, I don't like you, Bobby Thompson, I'm not talking to you anymore. That decision alone shows someone's incapability to lead when you immediately just cut off all lines of communication. So when we sit here and the president of SHOPO says, yeah, we should go in a different direction, we're not just pulling that out of the air. This has been a 2-year period. We've had communication with our membership, and that's what we recommend. But again, you have a police chief putting his flag out saying, I'm not talking to the union. Well, guess what? All your workers up until the rank of lieutenant are union workers. What sense does that make?
Right. Mark?
Well, I think it's, although the results of the chief isn't favorable, the officers are still going to do their job. You know, they're not going to go out there and, you know, go to work and then during the course of their job or the course of their duties say, you know what, I don't like the chief, so I'm not going to do this. Not like that at all. So as far as, you know, the public worrying about, oh, the chief's not favorable, so we're not going to get police service, that's furthest from the truth, right? The officers are still going to trudge forward. They're still going to do their job. It's just that, you know, maybe they might not be getting the support from upstairs or above, but on the ground, the job's going to get done.
Nick, this will be the final thought, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, thank you. So to Major's point, and we've had this conversation before, when there are morale problems, leadership problems in a department, does the quality of the work suffer? Do people still come to work and do their jobs? The answer is yes, they still come to work. We still do the best that we possibly can. There's a specific rule in our contract that says we're not allowed to do work stoppage. We're not allowed to do work shortage. We're not allowed to strike. Okay, police officers in all 4 counties don't do that. But I will say, though, that are there ancillary effects that you don't necessarily see right off the bat? Absolutely. It gets tough, you know, to put your boots on and come to work every day when you have a chief of police that you don't respect, when you have an administration that you feel doesn't support you, when you have a public that you feel is hostile and doesn't want to back you up and just wants to see you fall and fail and get humiliated all day long, 24/7. So there are still effects regardless. And Kauai, again, it's a small department. Its size literally equates to it being a close-knit family. I mean, every officer there knows every other officer there. So out of all 4 counties, from my point of view as a union official, it's the one that's the most unique. And if you are going to lead it as a chief of police, you have to remember that you're dealing with a family unit.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Steve, how do we connect with SHOPO? How do we learn more?
Absolutely, Rick. Please come visit us at shopohawaii.org. From our platform there, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
It is 7:48 in the morning. We're forging ahead together until 8 a.m. The SHOPO Hour will resume after this. We're in the waiting moments, but still plenty of time remaining. We are the SHOPO Hour, and SHOPO President Bobby Cavaco is in studio with us. Vice President Steve Keogh with us today. The Assistant Vice President in charge of being handsome, Brother Nick, is with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. And Brother Mark Cricchio, who is a retired major and is the first call we all make when we get in trouble with the law ourselves. And thank you very much, Brother Mark.
You're welcome.
There we go. The assumption is that all counties utilize subsidized vehicles. However, ce n'est pas vrai. That's not necessarily true. Brother Bobby?
Yeah, we worked together with Chief Peltier and signed an agreement to start a subsidized vehicle program on Maui. So sooner rather than later, the department will select based on seniority whatever officers want to participate in the program. It's voluntary. They'll be able to purchase their own car, use it for both police work, and then also use the car while off duty, and then get a subsidy from the city and county.
Mm-hmm. Is there a resistance to that by departments?
No, it's a win-win for both sides.
Good.
Because it saves money for the city and county, because they don't have the overhead costs of maintaining the vehicle. That's borne upon the employee.
Yeah. do you utilize subsidized vehicles in here?
Yes.
Could you share a little bit about the experience, benefits, or maybe even the pro and con?
Well, the definitely there. I think the pros outweigh the cons. You're able to basically use your own car for work. Mm-hmm. You get a compensation for it per month, and you just maintain the vehicle as you see fit. And also, you can be deployed by the department in a very quick manner. You know, if an emergency happens, whether it's a hurricane, natural disaster, or some kind of other big event, officers can just, put the uniform on, jump into their subsidized car, and right from home they're activated. And can respond.
Big Island and Kauai subsidized. Was Maui the last?
Actually, yes, Maui is the last. Both Big Island and Kauai. Big Island, you're subsidized almost once you come out from the academy. Yeah, right at the very beginning, just because of the vast area to cover.
So, Steve, in your vehicle, the Lamborghini, is it an effective vehicle for police use?
My friend drives one of those, and I can't fit in the Lamborghini car. It's a joke. I can fit in the SUV barely, but Lambos are completely out of the question for me.
Just check it. But Mark, when you drove your Yugo, it worked out pretty well.
I had the Chevy Spark,
What?
Oh, gosh.
Goodness gracious.
No, it's a good program. It's a good program for the officers. But, there are rules, though, right? So the public knows that you just can't use any car you want, right? There's a list of approved vehicles, right? So that's, if I'm not mistaken, through the union and the department have to agree on it, right? And then, you have, you got to keep it to a certain standard. You're only allowed to have it so many years. And during the professional standards inspection every year, you get inspected from it too, as far as all those rules. So there is rules.
There's some bonus plan if you have a Tacoma, because that's like every single vehicle.
With the Forerunners.
Forerunners on the road. I know we have a couple of minutes left. Contract negotiations, we cited them earlier. Where are we, if you can share, in the process, and what's the culmination of this process?
Well, we opened up negotiations on June 1st with all four counties, 4 employers. We've met twice, and we've made a lot of progress. We continue, going to the table and trying to get an agreement, hopefully in place by the time this current contract ends, which is June 30th of next year. So time is flying by quickly.
Yep.
And we're going to continue the process.
It is flying. Blink twice, and we're there. It's amazing. We have a few moments left. I want to go around the board. Start with Brother Mark. Final thoughts you'd like to share with us? Conclusion of this program already. This is a fast hour.
Yeah, I just want to bring one thing up. Just everybody out there, we got a couple strikes going on. We got the hotel workers, and we got the nurses striking, right? So, give the officers a break on those strike posts. I worked as an officer, and I worked as a supervisor, and the officers go through hell working those things. They're a pain in the butt to work. Each side is not happy.
Yeah.
So, give the officers some compassion out there with this.
Love it. Brother Nick?
To add to what the Major said, one of the responsibilities of officers who maintain strike posts is to keep order. And if the strikers decide that they're going to do something in particular to make a statement, which may include breaking the law or an arrestable offense, then officers have to take action, and that's just the way it goes. We've had to do that in the nurses' strike, and I worked with the officers that handled that situation. I fully support them. Again, that's one of the things that cops have to do that the public may not necessarily like, or they may, cast judgment on, but it's part of the job, and it just happens.
Yeah, 2 major strikes, a potential third, perhaps, in the offing. Brother Steve,
I
thoughts?
hope your listeners realize that the individuals, some that held elected office, that chose to get arrested at Kapiolani Hospital the other week, that was nothing but a publicity stunt on their part, and shame on them for that. And then let's remind the nurses, listen, we love the nurses. You got union workers helping out other union workers. Those officers that arrested those individuals are all part of SHOPO. So shame on the elected leaders that for publicity to market themselves. And let's make one thing clear. Before HPD makes any arrests at a strike poke, there are multiple warnings given, basically officers asking people to clear the road.
On that note, Brother Bobby, welcome back.
It was great to be here. It was a great hour, Rick.
Yeah, can't wait to see you again. Brother Mark, thank you much.
Okay. See you next week.
Brother Steve, merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Oh, just let me get some toast.
Did you say derriere?
De rien. So,
And Brother Nick,
Derriere.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
thank you so much. Thanks for joining us for the SHOPO Hour, and we'll return with more of the Rick Amato program. It is now 8 o'clock.